Hey everybody.
Welcome again to Trans Gurus. And this time we've got Christian again with us.
Welcome back.
So incredible, please.
Hey.
Good to have you back, Christian.
It's great to see you again. I think the presence of a trans man is very important in our group because we are mostly trans women. So although we are all different. And thank God for difference because that is the transgender world. We are all different.
Yes.
So today's theme is called the power of emotions. The power of emotions. Oh my God. You know what? When you are a transgender, you know what that is. Before you transition, you have something called dysphoria. Dysphoria means you finally found what the cause and how to control this, and you, boom, start HRT. Now, the power of hormones is incredible. And guess where the hormones function? Emotions. So you see the parallel: estrogen, emotion; testosterone, emotions. Well, I can speak more for the trans woman that I've had my experience, but, and I'm sure that Christian will have something to say about the trans man part, but you know, you go through an incredible opening up of yourself because all of a sudden your emotions in your body start to be coordinated with your mind. And I have to say, as a transgender person, you have to be emotionally very, very strong. All the time, all the differences that you go through, and don't forget, one of the most incredible emotions is called courage. And you have to have a lot of courage to go through a transition. It's not always automatic. Actually, it's not automatic at all. You have to find everything. You have to fight everything. First, you start by fighting yourself because you don't know where you are. Then you find that there are others like you, and you start to bloom. And then you start to get in your transitional phase. And you know, sometimes there's acceptance, sometimes there's no acceptance. You've got your own hormonal changes. You know that some transgender even talk about having something kind of trans women that have got the kind of period because of their hormone changes. Well, I don't experience that, but there are some people which have got really very long, very strong changes in the emotions. When you start your HRT, you go through a new puberty. With new puberty, there's a hell of a lot of emotions going all over you. I mean, I was crying on the spot. Normal, absolutely normal. When I saw a film which there was some kind of romance, oh my God, before I wouldn't cry. After, I would cry all the time. I still do. And I am very proud of it. But the power of emotions is very, very important for transgender people. And you have to be strong. You have to have courage. And you have to recognize your needs. You have to find yourself. That's what it's all about in life, is to be yourself, to find where you're going, find your soul, you as a person. That's why we go through this, because we want to have harmony between our brain and our body and the way we react. So for all the people which are not transgender are listening here, please accept us, because you know what? We are great people. We are emotionally strong. We are strong people. We have courage, and we have proven it. So that's as much as I want to say something. I think it's my part. So based on that and my particular experiences, let's go to this gorgeous guy, or really handsome guy called Christian, and I'm sure he's got a wonderful story to tell you.
Thank you for sharing, Ella, and thank you for saying I'm gorgeous. Appreciate it. Excuse my voice too. It's a little strained right now. Oh, go ahead. What are you saying?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this topic with the power of emotions. And by the way, thank you everyone for welcoming me back while I was away. But for the power of emotions, like thinking about this topic in preparation for it, I immediately thought about society and like the men in it, and how we kind of have like this ideal of like, for men, there's like, no emotions allowed. Like, you're not allowed in the club, and you're not supposed to feel. Or there's like the other extreme where like you're out of control with your emotions, and it's like everything in life just takes you by like a whirlwind, and people just are so reactive, and the consequences are very costly. So like that's, it's trying to strike the balance is what I started to think about. Like where is the sweet spot? Where's the Goldilocks feeling where you can kind of have the best of both worlds, where you can feel those emotions, but also be in control of them so they're not steering you in the wrong direction. And then I thought about like myself, and I'm a trans guy, and I was thinking about like how prior to me starting hormones, I was pretty emotional and trying to get what I wanted, and trying to manifest, my authentic self, trying to get others to support me, trying to over and over again, doing all these different things that, our stories are kind of aligned, like we all kind of want the same thing. But then for myself, I decided that I was gonna take a different route than what I was originally taking. I wanted to see myself become more aligned with like the mentors that I had on YouTube, the mentors I had in my life, the examples and role models that I had, the type of man that I wanted to be had to get their emotions in check. So when I started to transition, I get the testosterone. That to me is an added responsibility, because when you take on testosterone, you're taking on almost like a superpower. You're taking on a new ability of strength. You're taking on the energy that comes with it, some aggression that comes with it that can be used to fuel your goals. And channeling that in the correct avenue is crucial. But before we can take on that, if you're used to riding a pony, well, testosterone is like a bull coming out of the gate. You gotta first learn how to ride the pony before you get on the bull, and before you knock yourself out on it. So like that's what I tried to do, is educate myself and see this new power of testosterone as a responsibility that I had to be disciplined with. And the way that I was going to control myself was through my emotions. And I see emotions as like a skill. We have to master all these different skills in life, and emotional intelligence is no different. I read books, I've listened to mentors, I've gone on like websites, and even therapy helps like with getting a solid foundation of emotional intelligence, and so you can wield this skill to your advantage. And like I had to get in touch with myself by being truthful with myself about situations and scenarios that I found myself getting into, with, maybe I reacted instead of responded, and it was because of my belief on the emotions. I didn't see it as such a dangerous or such a useful tool if yielded correctly. Now, when I view emotions, I see it for how strong a tool it could be in my tool belt if I just know how to use it properly in each situation and scenario. So the first thing, I guess, for me, for my emotional journey was to get in touch with myself and admit, truths to myself. And sometimes when you do these self-assessments, they're hurtful. It might feel like you're roasting yourself. It might feel kind of embarrassing to admit these things. But that attitude of humility and being humble and getting out of your ego's way, like that's step one. That's the attitude we need to be able to assess our own emotional sticking points, and then be able to, see what you're doing. And I see what I'm doing, like in situations, if I'm being reactive or if I'm being responsive. And reactive, it's impulsive, and it's unpredictable, and that could yield consequences that you don't, or you didn't really want to begin with the goal that you had in mind. And then I try to reflect and change that situation and say, hey, how could I have done it more responsive? How could I have been more calculated? How could I have been more effective and still maintained a good standing with that situation or person or scenario, whatever it was, and be as tactful as possible? So then it translates, all these different things. It's very thorough, right? It's like all this detailed stuff, but it translates so well into being trans. We already are perceived like, a lot of people like maybe perceive our situation as we're on the edge of society or we're marginalized. Whether that's true or not, I don't allow society to dictate how I'm going to behave or respond. I'm gonna continuously, because at the end of the day, I am responsible of myself and the way I feel. And if I feel some type of way, and I continue to allow myself to feel that type of way, and it's maybe a costly thing, then the consequences of that are on me. It's not society. So I like to strengthen myself through my emotions. A lot of people say, like, you're a man. If you're a man, you're supposed to have these feelings or talk less, or maybe it's perceived as weak. Look, a lot of things that I've learned from life is because I've been able to take my emotions and adapt them to situations so that I could get the best scenario outcome from that moment. Being able to voice your feelings and converse with people when the timing's appropriate, and feeling that, acknowledging those feelings, and communicating them in a healthy manner to people when it's appropriate. That's a huge skill. It strengthens my intuition. Whenever I'm in a scenario now I have to navigate, I can now be more in touch with my feelings and say, hey, this feeling reminds me of a time when this and this happened, or that person said this and that made me feel that way. And maybe I shouldn't go over there. Maybe I should stay away. Maybe I should connect more with that person because I'm in touch with my emotions. So yeah, I might be a trans man and explain my emotions to people and communicate them, but some people could call it weak. I call it, using a skill to my advantage. And that's what I would love to, I would love to hear how, Raji, how you have used power of emotions to your advantage.
Christian, absolutely great what you just told. And I have to underline something that you told, which is absolutely fantastic. Society is not in charge of your future. You are yourself. And this is so primordial. This is something we really have to talk. Raji.
Hello, everyone. Christian, I'm surprised you didn't talk about your strong, heartfelt emotions when it comes to me and how you feel about me. But that's okay. We'll do that. We'll do that on another show.
Yeah, we're gonna just have to do that next time, Roger, because the amount of time that I would have here, that would have to be a whole show by itself. The amount of time I'd have here, it just wouldn't be enough.
It just wouldn't be enough time, right?
No, we probably have to go the next 3 weeks. So.
Our celebrity never loses a moment, huh?
I couldn't help myself. So anyway, welcome back, Christian, and it's always great to be a part of this wonderful panel, with Ella and Jimmy. So, Christian, I love what you said about using emotions as a tool. Mm-hmm. So, first of all, I believe that we're all emotional, whatever you are, as beings. As living beings, we all have emotions. I think that depending on society and where you fall in as far as labels are concerned, that can impact how people express their emotions. Like, for instance, with men, they so-called, are supposed to be hard and, don't cry and don't be so expressive verbally. But yet, on the basketball court, they're button heads and ready to punch each other in the face. That's emotion. It's just they're in touch with more of an aggressive type of emotion and the emotion of anger, and aggression. So we're all emotional beings, and I think we all express it in many different ways. I love a guy like you, Christian, because you being able to say that you're in touch with what I would think your more loving and caring, expressive. What did you say?
I said feminine side. Don't let anybody hear that.
You know what? But this is the thing. Women complain that men can't be in touch with that soft, sincere, loving, feminine side, right? These are the same women that are raising their little boys not to cry and not to do this and stuff. So, there has to be, we can't have it both ways. We have to be able to balance it a little bit more and let little boys grow up being able to express themselves better and more freely than what we do, because there's definitely a double standard when it comes to the way little girls can express themselves as opposed to little boys. You'll see it all the time. A little boy will start crying and his father's like, "Oh, you better shut up, boy. Stop acting like a sissy," that sort of thing. So, but I want to talk more about emotions and using emotions in the power of manifestation. We all have the ability to manifest things, right? So for me, emotions is the gas to our manifestation. So let's say you have something that you want to, a goal that you want to achieve, an idea that you want to manifest, something you want to create. So the car, as an example or metaphor, the car is the idea, the goal, the thing that you want to achieve, or the thing that you want to be able to receive in your life, right? Mm-hmm. And then the gas for that car, in order for it to accelerate and manifest, is the emotion. So I found in my life, when I am desiring something, or I want to create something or have something happen for me, when I am high in my emotions, happy emotions and feeling good, and that feeling of blissfulness, And, you know, sometimes it's a struggle for me to get there, but like you learn how to use certain tools like music that makes you happy, you know, or doing something at home like taking a hot bubble bath, whatever can uplift your spirit. When you're resonating at that high, positive, loving, happy level, that is the best time for you to try and manifest something. And so I've learned that in my life as I've evolved as a human being here on the planet, that, you know, as I've grown and seen how I can create the life that I want, I found that emotions play a very important part in that. And so on that note, I just want to tell everyone that, you know, make yourself happy. Do something that's going to, like, you know, bring you joy. Eat that cup of ice cream. The hell with it. Okay, and you'll exercise tomorrow. What I'm trying to say is find ways to raise your vibration. You know, your vibration to a positive, happy state. And I'll toss it back to Ella.
Hey, Raj, I think, I mean, it's really important what you just said.
Thank you.
Be free to enjoy yourself and be free to have your own emotions. So important. I really is. On that note, we come to our last guru. I mean, last, but certainly not least. Jimmy. Today, Bonnie could not be with us, unfortunately, but I'm sure she'll be here. Jimmy. Go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. So today we're talking about the power of emotions, and I've heard a lot of good stuff so far. And I think, in its simplest form, it's emotions that make us human. If you listen to a computer voice on the phone or something like that, it's usually absent of any kind of emotion or enthusiasm or inflection. If you look at any kind of robot, same thing, although I do know that artificial intelligence is getting to the point where emotions can be mimicked, but they're not genuine. Mm-hmm. So emotions are what make us human. They give words amplification. Emotions are what can highlight or subtract from a comment. Emotions can be displayed in many forms, verbally, through body language. You know, when we get like chills up and down our spine, or we get goosebumps on our skin, these are all the result of feeling emotions. And I was like Christian, I did a little bit of research on emotions. There's basically like 6 principal emotions, and I'll just go over them. There's like fear, joy, love, sadness, surprise, and anger. And these are just broad groups, and there's multiple subgroups under each and every one of those. But I think the one that I wanted to talk about is passion. And Raji touched on something very, very, very powerful, and it has to do with how we manifest our reality. So a thought alone is, I like the analogy also, a thought alone is just a car without any gas. Mm-hmm. And then you throw in some emotion, some passion, some energy, some fire. So a thought plus emotion equals a changed life. Emotion coupled with thought is the combination of human abilities that can actually create our own reality. You know, I've seen this in my own life. So if we maintain a high elevated state of emotion, and our thoughts are pure, and we stay focused, give it time. It'll happen. And I think it's happened in all of our lives. For a trans person, the manifestation of a new human, it's quite dramatic. It's quite profound, and it's liberating. The more that we experience these things, the more we tend to incorporate these principles in our life. And yeah, so the emotion, this is another thing that Raji touched on. Emotion can raise our vibration. So if we're, if emotion can raise our vibration, well then emotion can lower our vibration. So out of those six categories that I mentioned earlier, joy, love, surprise, these are all emotions that can elevate our vibration. Fear, sadness, anger, these are all lower emotions that have a tendency to lower our vibration. So just to kind of review or reiterate what Raji said, when we want to manifest or dream of our future reality, do it when we're in a state of heightened vibration. When we're angry or sad, that's not the time to dream about things. That's going to be counterproductive. But emotions and passion, if you look at after these football games, the team that won, you go into the locker room, all the players are in a heightened state of joy, and there's definitely a super high vibration. Everyone's like just in a heightened state of being. And then you go to the other locker room where the folks didn't win the game. It's the exact opposite of that. And so these are examples of emotion and how they affect humans and our behavior. And that pretty much wraps up what I have to say right now.
Yeah,
Ella.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you talking about the positive and the negative emotions, because it is something very interesting. We have to deal with all of them. That's absolutely clear. And, if you want a positive life, stick to the positive. If you want to have a negative life, just go the other way. I think that is very, very important.
And just as Christian mentioned, we can use these emotions as a tool. And as humans, we're not perfect. And for someone to be able to control their emotions, Christian mentioned this also. It was a very good comment that it's a balance. Like, we don't want to control our emotions, that we become almost robotic or mechanical. Mm-hmm. It's our emotions that give us life and color. But to not allow our emotions to overshadow what's actually happening, and then we lose grip of what's really going on. And I think Christian did a good job of explaining that.
You wanted to tell something?
Christian, you had something you were saying?
Yeah, thank you. I was just commenting, saying, like when Ella was mentioning, thank you to Shannon about the ups and downs of the emotions, and pretty much correlates the positive with, having the high emotions, the love, the joy, the, gratitude, all that stuff, the courage, and then the fear and the anger and all the other things. That's kind of like, that can easily contribute to our negative experiences we have. And it all boils down to, what's the goal? Like, what's your goal in this situation, with this person, with this relationship, with this scenario you got going on? Whatever situation we're in, what is your goal? And then pair, is it strong enough of a goal that you'd be willing to challenge your own beliefs if those beliefs get you into costly situations where you mess up your goals? Because in order for me to have raised my level to where I am, out of all the things I've been through in life, is because I had a goal that was so worth it to change my beliefs and get my emotional behavior in check. So now I see how crucial that is of a skill to build. It's all, whatever your goal is, you know, if you want to ruin a relationship, well then go right ahead and be negative about it. If you want to have something that is long lasting and have a strong, you know, outcome or yield to whatever you're doing, you got to fuel that with the gas. And that's all the positive stuff. Every time you put a negative emotion out there, it's like you're poking holes in your gas tank. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just taking gas out, it's poking holes, because then that residue stays in the back of your head, and you keep, every once in a while you revisit that negative thing, and it's always going to keep leaking any type of energy that you can use to get past the finish line. It's going to take it away. It's going to zap you. That's my two cents. That's it. Back to you.
I think it is a really wonderful thing that you said. I have to say, you know, sometimes when I feel depressed, to raise my level of emotions, I just think of all the wonderful things that I've experienced in life. And it gives me such a lot of vibrations are going up, and you feel better, and you feel more courageous, and you feel more, you feel stronger.
Oh my God, that's so powerful. I never forget this conversation I had with my dad before he passed away. And he had been really sick in the hospital. They didn't think he was going to make it, but he did make it enough to go to therapy and then eventually go home for a few months before he died. But one of the conversations, you know, he was in a wheelchair basically because he had lost one of his legs. And my dad was like a very like sports type of guy. He loved to play the game cricket. It's an English game, but like they play it through the West Indies and India and around the world, and around some parts of the world. But he loved that game. And so he, one day we were talking and he says, oh, he sounded kind of depressed. And I said, oh, you sound, you know, kind of down. And he says, yeah, but what I do when I get down is I think about when I was, you know, young and playing cricket and the good times I had. And the way he said it, it just struck me. I was like, wow, it was almost like he was taking himself to those good times in order to bring him up in these hard times. And so, yeah, that's so powerful. Our minds are just amazing, the things that we can do.
Absolutely. Do you guys have anything else to say, gurus? Otherwise, we
Christian.
Everybody, I'm really happy that you are here, Christian. Apart from that, I wish everybody a great day, a great week. 2021 is going to be a fantastic year full of good and positive emotions. And I wish you all, and thank you for watching us.